Today we're going to be reading Celia Cruz, Queen of Salsa, written by Veronica Chambers and illustrated by Julie Maren. Now if we take a look at the cover, looks like there's thunderstorms happening up here and waves, so this must be like an ocean or a sea. And then there's some more waves, but in the form of music notes. There's a girl singing and a bird. It looks like a hummingbird because of the beak. But let's see how the cover plays out inside the book. On the inside of the cover, there's pictures. Looks like there's a pictures of a group. There's a picture of a wedding. There's a big sign and a woman over here. And here we have that same bird. I think it's a hummingbird, but let's find out. And some more music notes. Celia Cruz, Queen of Salsa. In the fabled land of Havana, where rhythm grows sweet and juicy like oranges in Florida, there lived a girl. She looked like a girl and talked like a girl, but everyone who ever met her agreed. She sang like a bird. And here we have a little girl dancing with some flowers. Maybe this is the girl that they're talking about. When Celia Cruz was a girl growing up in Cuba, she could never hear the magic others claimed was in her voice. When she opened up her mouth to sing, she heard a girl like any other. But when she sang, her father heard thunder. Her cousins heard the call of the sea. Her neighbors heard a hummingbird. Celia would grow up to be a queen, but she was not born a princess. She grew up in a poor section of town, one of 4 sisters, though the house was also home to numerous cousins. At times, there were as many as 14 children in the 2-bedroom house. Still, young Celia always stood out amongst the crowd. Her mother liked to tell the story of how a tourist bought Celia's first pair of shoes after hearing the little girl sing. And here we have Celia singing the call of the sea, and then the thunder that her father heard, and then the hummingbird that her neighbors heard. So that's pretty cool. It looks like the cover. So we already know that this is Celia from the cover. Like other girls in Havana, she had chores. Some of her friends were charged with sweeping the kitchen. Other girls washed dinner plates. Celia's job was to sing lullabies to put her younger brothers and sisters to sleep. At night, her voice carried through the windows, rolling along the cobblestone streets like a wheel or a wish. The people in her neighborhood began to gather outside of her family's front door, begging her father to leave it open. They said her voice is tan dulce, sweet like Asgar. Her voice, it was said, sent you not only to sleep, but to a nighttime land of angel dreams. And here we have the people standing outside of Celia's house, and here's Celia singing her brothers and sisters to sleep, and everyone loves to hear her sing, so they're gathered outside, even the dog over here. Always shy and more than a little independent, Celia mistook the gathering crowds for busybodies, watching her every move. "Ay, por favor," she pleaded, "if you don't leave, these little ones will never get to sleep." And here's Celia telling these people to go away because she won't be able to get her siblings to sleep if they're still out there. Despite her initial shyness, she could not stop singing. In the afternoon, after school, she would listen to the rapid-fire calls and cries of the pregón, the street vendors calling out their wares. In time, people would recognize the passion and pulsating cries of the pregón and Celia's unique vocal style. And there's these people. They're like people that sell their goods. So this one's selling ice cream, this one's selling fruit, and this woman over here is selling flowers. In high school, she began singing in school shows and local clubs. The music that she loved, el son and el guaracha, blended traditional Afro-Cuban rhythms with the flavor of folklore of the tropics. It was the kind of music that sizzled from the joy of being alive. And here's Celia singing. She looks a little bit older in this picture. And here's a big drum that probably resembles the music of el son and el guaracha. Her father loved to watch his little songbird, watch her send 100 hearts soaring with her melodies. But he was also cautious. "Keep studying, mija," he told her as he hummed old Cuban love songs while absentmindedly flipping the pages of her school book. "You are so smart. Forget about singing. Become a school teacher and make our family proud." And here's Celia's dad praising her singing. He loved the way she sung, but he also wanted her to become a school teacher. I wonder why. Why do you think he wants her to become a school teacher? Yeah, me too. I think that too. Her teachers, however, saw things a different way. "Take a chance," one professor told her. "With your voice, you could earn in a day what it takes me a year to make." And here's Celia and her teacher talking about her singing. If she should stay singing or become a teacher. But her teacher wants her to keep on singing, unlike her dad. But it is not easy to take a dream planted in your heart and make it grow in the world. Celia was unknown and did not have the kind of connections that easily open doors. And here's Celia holding her love for singing. Still, she jumped at every opportunity. Talent contests at the National Theater and amateur nights on the radio. She never forgot her father's lessons on the importance of education, and after graduating high school, she enrolled in Cuba's National Music Conservatory, where she studied piano, voice, and musical theory. Then in the 1950s, she got her big shot. The most popular band of the day was a group called La Sonora Machinera, and they were auditioning for a new lead singer. When they heard Celia sing, the way she made each and every note swing, they decided to give the little songbird a job. So here's the band. And the band is called La Sonora Machinera. And then here's Celia over here singing in this band. Because they loved the way she sounded and the way she sung, that they decided to hire her on the spot. At first, La Sonora's public was outraged. Who was this no-name singer fronting their favorite band? The phones at the Havana radio stations rang off the hook with complaints. At home, Celia began to wonder if she shouldn't take her father's advice and teach school. Was she really the ruin of Cuba's most beloved band? She stood by the window, looking out at the stars she feared she would never join, and Celia asked herself, "Why do I sing? Is it for fame and fortune and for fans that do not exist?" So here's Celia looking out the window. She's doubting herself. She doesn't know if she can be this new lead singer of this really big popular band that people love. So she's thinking that she should become a school teacher instead, like her father said. What do you think Celia should do? You think she should do that? Me too. That's a good idea. "No," she told herself. "I sing for my parents, the ancestors, and the saints. I sing because when I lift my voice up high, I feel like the first pajaro of the day, whistling Buenos Dias to anyone who will listen. I sing for my little brothers and sisters and the sweet expressions on their faces when they finally fall asleep." And here we have Celia singing her brothers and sisters to sleep, singing for her ancestors, and singing for her parents. These are all the reasons she keeps on singing. I think that's pretty cool. Although Celia was seriously thinking about giving up her dream, her bandmates refused to allow her to quit. As a group, they rewrote the history of Cuban music with new arrangements and fresh, innovative style. By the time she left Cuba in 1960, Celia was as beloved throughout the country as the men who made music with her. She'd even learned an affectionate nickname from her thousands of fans. They called the group Café con Leche, coffee with milk, because Celia's skin was very dark and her bandmates were very fair. And here's this huge crowd all there to listen to Celia sing and her bandmates perform. And her band was called Coffee with Milk in English because her skin was very dark compared to her other bandmates. So in theory, she was the coffee and they were the milk. That's how they got their nickname. There's a little coffee cup here with sugar and milk. In the United States, she became a citizen and her talent was rewarded with a permanent contract at the Hollywood Palladium. But once she left Cuba, politics dictated that she could never return. She would never again walk the streets of her beloved Havana. She would never again hear the cries of the pregón that were the bass and treble of Cuban street life. It was a heartache she carried her whole life through. Here's Celia, after she got her contract at the Palladium. What would you have done if you had to choose between your family and the thing that you like to do? Is that what you have chosen? Yeah, it is a pretty tough decision. I don't know what I would have done. Still, she kept her heart open. Lost loves made room for new loves. And it was there, in Hollywood, that factory town of movies and dreams, that the young princess of salsa music fell in love with a knight in shining armor. And here's a man, and here's Celia. This might be her knight in shining armor. Let's continue. His name was really Knight, Pedro Knight. He was the lead trumpet player in the Palladium Orchestra. While he dazzled her with his high notes, he won her love with his understanding. She told him that her heart would always be split into 3 pieces, and only one part would belong to him. One part of her heart belonged to the music, and the 3rd piece would always live in Cuba. Celia knew that she had met more than her husband. She had met an angel, who would be her companion and protector in this land so far away from home. And there he is, Pedro Knight. And he was the lead trumpeter. That's why there's music notes in Cuba. So this is her heart. Her heart split into her love of Cuba, her love of music, and her love for Pedro Knight. Celia Cruz brought salsa music to every corner of the earth, from London to the Congo, from Brazil to Japan. She recorded over 20 gold albums and is known the world over as the Queen of Salsa. For more than 40 years, Pedro Knight was her king. Celia's performance trademark was a full-throated shout of Asgar. It's the Spanish word for sugar, and the only word many say that so perfectly described her voice. And here's the radio that Celia's music would play over, and that's how thousands and millions of people heard her music, from Japan to Brazil. Everyone knew of her as the Queen of Salsa, like the title of this book. And here's the sugar that her voice sounded like, and here's her singing, and all over the world. In the fabled land of Havana, where the rhythm grows sweet and juicy like oranges in Florida, there lived a girl. She looked like a girl and talked like a girl, but everyone who ever met her agreed she sang like a bird. And here's Celia as a little girl, then a teenager still singing, and here's her singing like a bird. Celia's really good at singing music, but what is something you guys are good at? Really? That's super cool. I wish I could do that too. The bird girl grew into a princess, and the princess became a much beloved queen. Her kingdom was music, and those who loved her called her not by her name, but by the joy she inspired. At concerts, they called out Asgar, and Celia Cruz never failed them. She sung sugar, sweet sugar, wherever she went. And here's her singing as the Queen of Salsa. And that's the end of the book. I hope you enjoyed reading with me Celia Cruz, the Queen of Salsa, written by Veronica Chambers and illustrated by Julie Maren.